children? I'm back as usual with English recording classes. Ma'am, your English teacher. Did you enjoy your Diwali? Good. Then let's get back to class. Let's look at today's content. We will do a recap of the previous class, a tribute to Netaji. Then we will continue with the lesson, a tribute to Netaji. We will look into some vocabulary. Then of course, your question time. We will summarize all what we have done and then your classwork and homework. Now let's quickly see what we did in the previous class. We learned about the two great leaders who inspired us to fight. One is Gandhiji and the other is Subhash Chandra Bose. We did read that the Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs adored Subhash and called him Netaji. Subhash had high regards for women and also encouraged them to join the Jhansi Lakshmi regiment. We also did learn about the three INA officers who were put on trial by British, that is Shahnawaz, Sehgal and Dillon. Later they were released. Subhash also taught his army how to self-sacrifice, unity irrespective of class and community and discipline, and later he died on 18th August 1945 in an accident in which his plane had caught fire. So this was a glimpse of what we learned in the previous class, isn't it, children? We also did look into some vocabulary, which was, we saw some word meanings, we did also look at some synonyms, and then of course we did learn about participle phrase, correct? Now let's quickly get on to today's class then. Before we start off with today's class, children, I want to see if you have really read the lesson, and only the children whom I am asking questions will answer me. You will just type in your answers and send it to me while the recording is still going on. Very clear, children? So the first question is to Jagdish of 7th D. Jagdish of 7th D, you will answer me this by typing in the answer or writing it down and sending it to me. Tell me, who were the two great leaders who inspired us to fight? Who were the two great leaders who inspired us to fight? Now Venkatesh of 7th B, Venkatesh of 7th B will tell me who led the Jhansi Lakshmi Bai regiment. Who led the Jhansi Lakshmi Bai regiment? Sanjana of 7th C will tell me what were the two war cry. What were the two war cry? And Neetu of 7th A will tell me when did Subhash Chandra Bose die and how. When did Subhash Chandra Bose die and how? Let's continue the lesson, children, now. Turn to page 84 and please keep your fingers while I'm reading. In the history of India's freedom struggle, the place of Subhash Chandra Bose is unique. He was the leader who thought of fighting the brute force of the British by armed force. He had a wonderful organizing capacity. He could raise a modern army of about 75,000 men and women. He inspired them with intense patriotic fervor and a burning desire to free them enslaved motherland. Subhash Chandra Bose belonged to an educated and prosperous family. He was educated in England, Cambridge, and had traveled widely all over Europe. He looked at India from an international perspective. As he had a deeply spiritual nature, his quest for truth and the right guru had taken him to each and every corner of the country. At last, he made up his mind to follow the teachings of Swami Vivekananda and Aurobindo Ghosh in the spiritual sphere and Deshbandhu Chitraranjan Das in politics. Subhash Chandra had a special regard for his Muslim countrymen. Some of his ancestors, like Mahipati Bose and Gopinath Bose, had held the offices of minister and naval commanders under the Muslim rulers of Bengal. The quarters in which we lived, says Bose, is his autobiography, was prominently a Muslim one, and our neighbors were mostly Muslims. I cannot remember ever to have looked upon Muslims as different from ourselves in any way, except that they go to pray in a mosque. Subhash was born at Cuttack, Odisha on Jan 23, 1897. His father, Janakinath Bose, was a famous lawyer. Bose was a brilliant student. He had very broad-minded views on freedom and other social issues, and his hungry soul was not satisfied with textbooks alone. Describing his childhood, he said, "In my infancy, I was brought in touch with English people, English education, and English culture. After that, I went back to our culture, both classical and modern." Bose had a rebellious and independent spirit, and that was apparent from his earliest days. In the Presidency College, Calcutta, he organized a student strike to demonstrate against an English professor who had insultingly pushed away an Indian student. For this, Bose was expelled from the college. After a year, he was allowed to join the Scottish Church College in Calcutta, where he secured a first class in the BA examination. Subhash left for England on September 15, 1919, in order to study and appear at an Indian Civil Service, which is ICS, examination. After a year, he came out successfully and stood forth in the order of merit. But his conscience would not allow him to serve the alien rulers even as a high executive. So he resigned from the ICS and returned to India. Now, Bose wanted to chalk out the future course of his life. He had a long discussion with Mahatma Gandhiji and C.R. Das. He took Das as his mentor and settled down as principal of National College of Calcutta. But Bose gave up his job when Gandhiji started the non-cooperation movement. He was arrested by the British for joining the movement. After his release, Bose formed the Swaraj Party and was appointed the editor of the party's journal Forward. Bose became an executive officer of the Calcutta Corporation in 1924 and gained valuable experience of planning and practical administration. Children, I've read the lesson for you all. I want you all to read it again and mark all the new words and find its meaning. And write it down in your rough book and send it to me. I repeat, go through the lesson, mark all the new words, find its meanings, and write it down in your rough book and send it to me. me explain the lesson for you all children. It is self-explanatory, but still. Now we all know that Subhash Chandra Bose was a freedom struggler. Okay, he struggled for the independence of India. And not only that, he thought of writing the brute force of the British. Now what is brute force? Which means cruel or strong. He wanted to fight back the cruel or strong British. And what's the meaning of unique? Unique means unusual or special in some way or the other. And he always had an intense patriotic. Intense means having or showing strong feeling. He had strong feeling for his motherland and he wanted to free the motherland from the hands of the British. Not only that, Subhash Chandra Bose belonged to a very prosperous family. Prosperous means successful family. His father was a very famous lawyer and Subhash Chandra Bose studied in England, Cambridge. I've put up a picture of how the England, Cambridge looks. And as he had a deeply spiritual nature, his quest for truth and the right guru had taken him to each and every corner of the country. He always was for truth and justice. And when it came to his spiritual sphere, he followed two people who were there. I've put up a picture, that is Swami Vivekananda and also Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. But when it came to his political career, he always followed Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das. This is the picture. So hope you all know, when it comes to spiritual, you can have a look at those two pictures. And when it came to his political, I put up a picture as well. And he had great regards for Muslims because the place that he lived was surrounded by Muslim fellow men. And they were so united. He said that he never treated them differently, neither did they treat him differently. Now, and it was all full of Muslim people, so he loved them and there was no discrimination at all. They were so united, never used to fight. But the only thing where they used to be separate was when they used to go to the mosque. Alright? And he was very broad-minded. He was always wanting, it was not enough. Whatever he read, how much ever he read, he was never satisfied. And describing his childhood, he says that he was brought in touch with only English people, which means that he was only in touch with the English people, English culture, English education. But after some time, he came back to our Indian culture, which is both classic and modern. And he had a strong desire to rebel. Rebel means control or convert. He had a very strong desire. Whenever he saw something wrong happening, he would stand up for the right. In the same way, in the Presidency College of Calcutta, he organized all the students for a strike just because a lecturer insultingly pushed an Indian student. He fought for them, for that particular student, but unfortunately, he was asked to leave the college. Finally, he joined another Scottish church college in Calcutta. I put up pictures, children, of the Scottish college and then the Presidency College as well. Alright, and he completed his BA in first degree. Not only that, he left for England on September 15, 1919 in order to study and appear for the ICS. And there he did that also in a merit. So, and after that, he didn't want to serve there. He came back to India. Now he wanted to find out the future of his life. So he had great discussions with Mahatma Gandhi ji and C.R. Das, and he took Das as his mentor. What is a mentor? Mentor is someone who shows you the right path, or you can call them your guide as well. Alright. And then he settled down as a principal of National College at Calcutta. This is the third picture is the National College of Calcutta. But Bose gave up his job when Gandhiji started the non-cooperation movement, and he joined the non-cooperation movement, and he was also arrested for forming one, and he was appointed as the editor of the party's journal, which was named Forward, and he became an executive officer of Calcutta, and he learned a lot there. So we'll stop till here, and we will look what happened in the next class. Hope you all have understood till here, children. Let's look at some vocabulary, which is word meaning. Unique, unusual or special in some way. Brute, cruel or strong. Intense, having or showing strong feelings. Prosperous, successful. Ancestors, a person related to you who lived a long time ago. Let's see how to frame sentences now. Struggle. Every struggle is a victory. Every struggle is a victory. Except. Everything was in good order except the books. Famous. Bangalore is famous for its IT companies. Organized. We successfully organized the school function. Resigned. My dad resigned his job and set up his own business. Now it's my turn, and it's question time for y'all. Are you all ready, children, to answer my questions? Alright, here we go. The first one. What is the meaning of intense? What is the meaning of intense? Now, the second one. Why did he organize a strike? Why did he organize a strike? And the third one. Where did he pass his BA examination? Where did he pass his BA examination? The fourth one. He had a discussion with two people. Who were they? He had a discussion with two people. Who were they? And the last one was, why was he arrested by the British? Why was he arrested by the British? Please type in your answers or write it down and send it to me. Let me see who will be the first one to write and send it to me. All the best. Let's quickly do a recap of what we learned today. We did learn the lesson on page 84 and 85. We did learn how he loved the Muslims and he was into English culture, English education, and he always wanted to be with English people. We also learnt that he always stood for what is right. Then we also did learn that he joined the non-cooperation movement which was started by Gandhiji. Correct? We did learn till here. Alright, and we also did learn few word meanings, and we also learned how to frame sentences. Is that right, children? Hope you all have understood very clearly what has been taught today. Yes? And I want you all to please go through the lesson as well, children. Please read the lesson, and I've also told you all what you all have to do. You'll have to underline the new words in pencil and write it in your rough book with the meanings. Alright? Now let's see what your assignment is. For your homework, write the word meanings in your homework book and learn. Once again, write the word meanings in your homework book and learn. Now children, whatever word meanings I have given in the previous video plus this video, alright, the previous recording and this recording, I want you to write down all the meanings in your homework book. Okay, please don't miss out on any of the meanings. Write it neatly in your homework book. And for your classwork, I will be sending notes via WhatsApp. Please copy it neatly in your classwork book. Please copy it neatly the way I have done, because for the meanings I have left one whole page. I have given you 5 meanings. The rest I will be doing in the next class once I complete the lesson. Till where I have completed, I have given few meanings, and I have also given you question and answers, children, which is not in your reader. I have created my own question answers, one word or short answers, okay, for you all to understand the lesson better. So please copy that as well neatly in your classwork book. And please see that you all update your diary and also update your index. Alright, with the date, update your index as well, children. Until we meet in the next class. This is Ma'am Anna signing off. Bye-bye. Take care.